Om Namah Parvati Patay Har Har Mahadev. I came back from Kailash Mansarovar, and within a month I quit my job. Within a month or two, because I realized I'm not following my dreams, which was teaching. You'll find a lot of stones everywhere, but when you see a shivling, you know it's a shivling. You'll see a lot of mountains everywhere, but when you see a Kailash, you know it's a Kailash. There is this energy, consciousness in the form of Lord Shiva or Mahadev. हमको पता है वो energy वहाँ पे है.
जी जी जी.
That energy I'm calling Mahadev that energy because it's the highest form of divine energy. If you go there, you should go there. I feel when you have something spiritual that's awakened from inside you. अंदर से कुछ लगना चाहिए, आध्यात्मिक भावना जागृत होना चाहिए. Maybe that's connected to Shiva or the Devi. Then you'll feel the lagav, you'll feel the connection, you'll feel drawn to Kailash Parvat.
Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome back to another episode of Life Feed Talks. मैं हूँ राव्या सारडा और आज हम बात करेंगे about कैलाश पर्वत. कैलाश पर्वत ना केवल अपनी ब्यूटी सुंदरता के लिए जाना जाता है बल्कि it holds a lot of religious significance for many cultures as well. कहते हैं कैलाश पर्वत के चारों ओर कई रहस्य है, मिथ्स है, लेजेंड्स है जिन्हें हम नहीं जानते, मिस्ट्रीज है और इन सारे मिथ्स को अनफोल्ड करने के लिए हमारे साथ जो आज के गेस्ट हैं, ही इज एन अक्लेम्ड ऑथर एंड कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनर मयूर कालबाग. हमने आज कई सारी बातें करी अबाउट कैलाश पर्वत, मिस्ट्रीज जैसे कि मैंने बताया, महायोगी, अघोरीज के बारे में और कैलाश पर्वत जाने के लिए आपके रीजंस, आपके पर्पस क्या होने चाहिए या सिर्फ ऐसे ही चले जाए जस्ट बिकॉज आपको जाना है. व्हाट शुड बी द रीजन, हाउ शुड यू प्रिपेयर टू गो टू कैलाश पर्वत. ये पूरा एपिसोड एंड तक देखिएगा, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. सो प्लीज वेलकम मयूर कालबाग. हेलो मयूर, नमस्ते. हर हर महादेव.
Namah Parvati Patay Har Har Mahadev.
Thank you and welcome to the show. Mayur, today's topic is Kailash Parvat, Kailash Mansarovar. I know your book Aghori is a huge success, right? So how do you feel like after, when you see the success of the book?
First and foremost, thank you so much, Raavya, for getting me on this podcast. I've seen a lot of your podcasts, and I think I like the informality of it. Makes me feel like it's a very natural chat, which makes me open up more easily. So thanks for that. I think I'm still absorbing the success, or should I say the way the book has been received by the readers. There's one way of looking at it where you see it from the quantity perspective, like how many people have read it.
Right.
So that way I'm very happy. I think more than the response. So the response in terms of people buying or getting the book is one part, but what I feel more touched by is when I read the feedbacks, from the people. Like one of the feedbacks I got is that I don't feel any fear about Aghori sadhus.
Yes.
That I have understood who they really are and what they represent in terms of their devotion for Shiva. This kind of clarity that if a book could bring out or create in the minds of readers, then I'm really happy. And the other part is, I got a feedback from a reader who's told me that he's a professor at a university and he's integrated the book into his doctoral research.
Oh.
So I think that probably could be one of the most amazing responses I've got.
Yes,
so it's a very happy feeling, and maybe I should make a big announcement here today. Is I've just signed a book deal with Penguin. Penguin Random House Publications. So when we were kids, we used to look forward and look up to Penguin as like one of the top publishers. It still is. So they, I think, got to know about the book Aghori and Untold story, and they have signed a deal with me for a 2-book deal. It's a 2-book deal.
That's a big news, right?
And why I'm very happy is because not only is the book deal for my second part, so I'm writing Aghori and Untold story part 2,
also.
which is going to come out by the end of Jan. But they've also taken up initiative in signing the contract with me to reposition Aghori and Untold Story Part 1
Part one.
at a much bigger level in different languages.
That's
So I'm looking forward to that as well. So if you ask me how happy I am, I think words will be difficult
yes.
to express my emotions.
Yes, because somewhere people have that fear about Aghoris. जब
Yes.
हम अघोरी का नाम भी लेते हैं, correct? तो वो fear है लोगों के दिलो दिमाग में, the appearance, Aghoris holding the skull in their hand.
Yes.
Yes, और कहीं ना कहीं जैसे आपने कहा वो book पढ़कर people.
देखो क्या होता है कि we don't know about these entities.
Correct.
और जो हमें दर्शाया गया है, what has been shown to us is something that has not been properly explained. For example, I used to watch some of these videos on YouTube where they would highlight and they would show Aghoris holding, using the skull.
Correct.
Which is correct, but why do they use the skull? What is the philosophy behind it?
Okay.
तो वो अगर explain नहीं किया जाता है, then people they get driven into their own interpretations, and the first feeling is of fear.
Yes.
Because a skull, for God's sake, it will make us fearful. But their way of looking at life is so different than our way of life. They are not connected to anything that we are connected to. They are only connected to sadhana. There is a practices, which will help them to merge with Lord Shiva, the Shiva consciousness. I use the word Shivatva.
Okay.
So shayad, I think, I do feel, not shayad, I do feel that the book gives a very detailed glimpse into, and I say a glimpse because there's part 2 coming in.
Yeah.
So it gives you a glimpse into who these entities are and what kind of sadhanas they do. वो भी रोते हैं, वो भी हंसते हैं. हाँ, because people think Aghori मतलब सिर्फ चिल्लाते हैं.
हाँ, I think we'll talk. We have a lot to talk about Aghoris also, but before that, जो हमारा topic है आज का, Kailash Mansarovar and Kailash Parvat. Let's talk about Kailash Parvat today.
True.
Tell me, what is so special? ऐसी क्या खासियत है कैलाश पर्वत के बारे में, the Himalayas, and what are the characteristics? Why are people so much attracted towards Kailash Mansarovar?
Okay, let me answer this with an example, a very simple example. You're here now in Mumbai.
Yeah.
I also live in Mumbai and Pune. We're used to a particular way of living our life. Concrete jungles hai, सब कुछ चल रहा है. If I were to transport you straight away at a place which looks completely different from where you've been, okay? For example, I take you into a deep forest, एक जंगल के अंदर, और वहाँ पे as you walk around, you suddenly come across a lovely lake, और वहाँ पे सिर्फ mother nature है surrounding the lake. बहुत अद्भुत feeling आपको लगेगा because you're completely cut off and away from what you're used to. The skyscrapers, the roads, the shops, the the cacophony of life. And suddenly you're there. So आपको, obviously you'll feel something different. You may feel a bit of fear because you're in the middle of nowhere, kind of, in the jungle area. True. Could be, wild animals, maybe this and that. But फिर भी, when you watch that or witness that beautiful lake, and it's beautiful, the flowers, the trees, the birds may be there. It's different. Another example is if you were taken into a cave. And it's probably somewhere far, far away from civilization, right? And then you'll automatically feel like spending some time. You'll find it mysterious.
Okay.
ये है क्या? वो जो moments है ना of whatever, maybe 3 seconds, 10 seconds initially, you magnify that at least 1,000,000 times. I'm just using a number 1,000,000 times to tell you how much is what you'll feel when you go to Kailash Parvat. Okay. So you must have felt something. Even our viewers, I'm telling you, imagine yourself in a mysterious cave, but divine. And there's nobody, just you and maybe a priest or somebody who's just guiding you there. Or you're in the middle of a forest and there's this beautiful jheel, a lake. You'll feel something nice. Multiply that nicety, that feeling 1,000,000 times is what you'll feel there. And that is how I felt. And there were 2 reasons for that, Raavya. One is when you go to a place which you already are aware of, कि वहाँ पे there is this energy, consciousness in the form of Lord Shiva or Mahadev. हमको पता है वो energy वहाँ पे है.
जी जी जी.
That energy, I'm calling calling Mahadev that energy because it's the highest form of divine energy in my view. And why it completely melts your soul and makes you feel amazed is because if you're even slightly spiritual, you'll feel that connection with the so-called mountain, where you know that there is that entity there. So you'll feel as if you are at the place where there is that entity that you've been praying for such a long time is there.
You feel that
You're
connection.
so close by. And the other part is the beauty of the entire Himalayan region, Raavya. When you go, so even if you meet people who've traveled to Ladakh, who travel to those places on bikes, you ask them how it is, and they'll say, Adbhut, just those regions of Himalayas. And then when you go towards the Kailash, the first thing I'll tell you is it doesn't look like a mountain peak.
Okay.
And I've said this to so many friends of mine who want to know how it is it looks like a crystal, a huge, magnanimous crystal.
Yeah, you've been there?
Yeah. Not on it. I've been there. It looks like a crystal with edges. Okay. And the upper part of the Kailash is it's covered in snow, but you can see the edges.
Okay.
So you know it's a crystal, right? For example, this is a crystal stone. You see the shine?
Yeah.
So this is how, in a way, it is crystal. And of course, this is not from Kailash. It's a crystal stone I brought as a metaphor. And it's got edges. So imagine this is in the form of a triangle.
Okay.
Okay? And so when you see it, and you see the other peaks of the Himalayan mountains, you will find a big difference because everything else are, all the others are mountains. This is Adbhut. It is different. You'll find a lot of stones everywhere, but when you see a shivling, you'll know it's a shivling.
Okay.
You'll see a lot of mountains everywhere, but when you see a Kailash, you'll know it's a Kailash. There is no other mountain, I believe, which will look anywhere close to the way a Kailash Parvat looks.
Okay.
Now, usko kyun, wo kaise aise bana, like how is it so different? What are its properties? This is something that is still a mystery.
Yeah.
जैसे normal stone है, there's a crystal stone, there's a spatika, right? There's a shaligram. These are all stones of different qualities, different properties, and different spiritual energies.
Okay.
Mayur Baba करके एक बहुत enlightened yogi थे, took samadhi from close to Pune, born in Pune somewhere, and then Nagar में, Amarnagar में उनका आश्रम है, Mayur Baba. In one of his books, he says that even a stone has got consciousness.
Okay.
Yes. He was a very unique yogi. He was maun for more than 40 years.
Okay.
He was maun.
Mon.
He didn't utter a single word for 40 years.
There's also someone who's known as Moni Baba, right?
That's another entity, enlightened entity, Mauni Baba in the Himalayas.
Okay.
Then there's another entity in the south who also practiced silence, and their gaze itself was enough to even give diksha to the students and their name was Raman Maharishi.
Okay.
So why I'm saying this to you is because coming to the point of Kailash is when you go and see that kind of a creation, which is supposed to be a mountain, but it's something very, very divine, something more crystallized, then it will have that impact on people who go there with a spiritual bent of mind.
Okay.
For people who go there as tourists, firstly, it's not a place for tourists.
Right.
If you go there, you should go there, I feel, when you have something spiritual that's awakened from inside you. अंदर से कुछ लगना चाहिए, एक भाव. आध्यात्मिक भावना जागृत होना चाहिए, and maybe that's connected to Shiva or the Devi or some higher force. Then you'll feel the lagav, you'll feel the connection, you'll feel drawn to Kailash Parvat. By the way, you mentioned Kailash, but there's something also beautiful, is Mansarovar as well. In fact, when I was giving the example, if you were to go to a forested area, see a jheel, in my mind it is the Mansarovar. Oh my God, it's beautiful.
The beauty.
It's beautiful. And such sights, Raavya, why am I describing this in detail? Because such visuals can really not only uplift our soul, uplift us, but it can even change us, transform us in the way we look at life. That's what happened to me as well. वो आपको सोचने पे मजबूर कर देती है कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं यार मुंबई में, या मतलब internally that way we are superficially doing well, materialistically doing okay, all running to be at the same place. But when you go to such places, they make you kind of they make you question
what are we
doing? What is our philosophy? Is money the real game changer for us with respect to happiness? Such questions they make you ask those questions, and sincerely. कभी कभी हम ऐसे पूछते रहते हैं कि क्या यार, what's money, is it important? Not that way. There you literally meditate, you really think about it. You start valuing your relationships. The first relationship that I think people don't value, and I'm working on it, is with yourself. काफी टाइम पे हम बोलते हैं ना कि हम दोस्तों को टाइम देते हैं, we give time to our friends, we give time to our family, to our work, but do we really give time to ourselves? We don't. How many minutes did you give to yourself? And I'm not talking about praying, just with yourself in contemplation, in introspection. That when that question is put to you here, we just cough it off, say, "हाँ यार, किधर time है यार, बच्चे सब कुछ है." But when you go to Kailash, and when you especially go to Mansarovar and sit in front of the Mansarovar, believe me, Raavya, and I really don't like to exaggerate and stuff. I'm telling you because I've been there. I've not read books on it and talking to you.
Correct.
When you sit there, the intensity that you feel, the intensity you feel, the sincerity that you feel, the honesty that you feel, to go inside you and actually address that question, what am I really doing in life? I came back from Kailash Mansarovar, and within a month I quit my job. Within a month or two, because I realized I'm not following my dreams, which was teaching. So it pulls you out of what you have assumed to be yahi mera life hai. It pulls you out, and it gives you a lot of courage to make tough decisions. It makes you at least open those doors, Raavya, to those possibilities जो हम normally नहीं think कर पाते हैं. When you're on,
helped you to analyze yourself
a lot. I think Meher Baba said a stone has life. So obviously Kailash has got so much of consciousness, energy. Mansarovar is so vibrant. I know it sounds a bit, people are watching, they may say, ye kya baat kar raha hai? When I say this, that they keep whispering to you, it's only up to us to listen to their whispers.
Okay.
Mother Nature whispers to you, metaphorically. I mean, you can't hear them literally.
No, I got that.
But they will make you think in different directions, is the way I say they whisper to you. They make you think. They make you question yourself. In fact, even writing the book Aghori and Untold Story is a result of me going to Kailash Mansarovar, because the Maha Aghori in one way is also Mahadev. इसलिए तो अघोरी सब उनको फॉलो करते हैं. But I'm telling you, one visit, any Shiva Bhakt, especially, one visit to banta hai to Kailash Mansarovar. People go to different parts of the world, spending lakhs of rupees. एक बार go to Kailash and sit there for some time. Your way of looking at life changes, and through that, your actions also change.
Correct.
I never painted, I never wrote. And I make this very clear. I used to almost flunk and fail in English in school because interest ही नहीं था. But वो जागृत हो गया वहाँ पे. It made you think, and certain parts of your brain actually open up. Not literally, your coordinates open up. So this really is. These are the reasons why I also get excited to talk about Kailash.
Correct. But tell me, हमारे ग्रंथों में, वेदों में, कैलाश पर्वत को कैसे डिस्क्राइब किया हुआ है, if I may ask?
देखो, I'll be very honest. I went with my guru, Swami Sadyojata Shankarashram. He's also our community's Mathadipati. I am a sadhaka, a shishya of my guru. मेरे लिए वेद, पुराण, टेक्स्ट जो इंग्लिश में कहते हैं, वो काफी सारे हैं. And they have described in many ways Kailash as the abode, as the epicenter for the energy or जो हम कहते हैं of Shiva, Mahadev. And more than describing Kailash, I would say Kailash has been the context in which Shiva has been described.
Okay.
कि वहाँ पे वो meditate करते थे कैलाश में बैठ के. So a lot of these aspects we hear about शिव, देव, शिव के जो गण थे, हाँ, तो वो आते थे. नंदी वहाँ पे है, शिवगण है. जो देव और देवी आती थी टू कम्युनिकेट, वो वहाँ पे आती थी. Then there are aspects about Ravana also going to Kailash. So in these texts they talk about Kailash not as an individual entity. वो in the context of Shiva it is explained.
Okay.
Why I mention my guru is because क्या होता है ना, Raavya, when you go there, if you were to go there because of your Shiva bhakti, it's great, it's wonderful. But if you were to go there with Shiva bhakti, but with your guru, गुरु के साथ कैलाश जाना, वो बहुत अमेजिंग है. Now उसका और एक आइसिंग ऑन द केक मेरे लिए ये था कि when I went to Kailash with my guru, there I was asked by my Swamiji to come and become part of the seva, Guru Seva. मतलब जब भी गुरु जहाँ वहाँ जाते थे, I had to be with my guru. We were 90 people from our community.
Okay.
हम काफी बड़ा ग्रुप था वो. ग्रुप्स में जाते हैं ना, तो बट इमेजिन करो उनमें से मैं और एक था, मेरा एक फ्रेंड है, तो हम दो गए. वी वर सिलेक्टेड और वी वर यंगस्टर्स. व्हाई आई एम ब्रिंगिंग दिस अप इज बिकॉज राव्या, वेदास में तो एक्सप्लेन किया गया है, लेकिन व्हेन यू गो विथ योर गुरु, वहां से जो उनसे जो सीख मिलती है, टू सी माय गुरु द वे माय गुरु वुड लुक एट कैलाश, द वे, एंड वहां मानसरोवर में के तट पे बैठ के माय गुरु वुड परफॉर्म शिव पूजन on the banks of Mansarovar. We would sit there. तो उनकी सेवा, personal सेवा जो मैं करता था while we were there, I got to listen to what my guru said.
Okay.
And a lot of it was not just about Shiva is there. It was about that, but it was also about, Mayur, you're here now. Yes, you're in seva. How many malas of your japa are you doing?
Okay.
Because what it came to me as the message was, just don't keep looking at Kailash and saying, wow, उससे ज़्यादा कुछ होगा नहीं. You will keep doing wow, wow, wow. ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. You should start doing, you should continue your japa. Because Swamiji said to me that what you do here, if you do one mala of japa here, it is equal to doing maybe 100 malas down when you go to Mumbai. Correct. That time I stay in Mumbai. So my answer to your question is not only what I said, ki in the Vedas they've explained the whole aspect of Shiva Tattva, Shiva at Kailash, in the form of those aspects about Ravana, the Devgana, the Nandi, Shiva's personality in meditation there, in the Jagrut Swapna state, and how Swamiji, Shiva would, Mahadev would, sit in silence, at the same time do tandav there. And ऐसे कहा जाता है कि tandav was Shiva's way of expressing anger as well. This is what I read. But I brought in the guru aspect because when you go there and do meditation, when you go there and do introspection, when you go there and do pranayam, the transformation that happens from my guru's perspective, that's the most important part. The beauty, the elegance of Kailash, the mystical aspect of Kailash and the Mansarovar, they are great. Because it'll make you feel you're not even on earth. It's so beautiful. But just that is not enough. I remember वहाँ पे जब हम थे तो my guru would also chant, which I learned later. And I want to present that chant to you, Raavya, for the sake of for also the viewers. Because जैसे जप करना होता है, even chanting, my guru encouraged many of us कि chanting करो. For example, while seated on the banks of the Mansarovar, I heard my guru chant, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakhalu Kushala Spanditumapi Atastwamaradhyam Harihara Virinchadibhirapi Pranautum Stotum Va Kathamakrita Punya Prabhavati. So what happens is, one is the meaning of it. But you know, Raavya, even to listen to the way it's been uttered has that impact, especially when you're there.
Right.
वो combination.
I feel right now I'm transported there. I think everyone feels the same way here.
आप सोचिए, आप उस जगह पे हो जहाँ पे in front of you, like I say this a lot of times, if you were to be taken to a seaside, Juhu beach, yeah, Goa beach, wherever, beach, and if you were to be told that, like what, or asked, what do you see in front of you? तो पहले तो बोलेंगे आप पागल हो, ऐसे क्यों पूछ रहे हो? Naturally, it's an ocean, a sea. And if then you were told that it's not an ocean, it's not a sea, what you see in front of the sea is not a sea, it's actually a lake. तो इतना वो जो विशालता आपको फील होता है, it touches your soul. The magnanimity of the Mansarovar, the pristine visual of the Kailash, and in that जब ये स्तोत्र का उच्चारण होता है, जैसे I remember ओम जटा कटा हि संभ्रमन् भ्रमन् निलिम्प निर्झरि विलोलवीचि वल्लरी विराजमान मूर्धनि धगत 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 ज्वलल्ललाट पट्ट पावके किशोर चंद्र शेखरे रति प्रतीक्षणं मम कदा निलिम्प निर्झरी निकुंज कोटरे वसन विमुक्त दुर्मति सदा शिरस्तमंजलिं वहं विमुक्त लोल लोचलोल लाम भाल लग्नकः शिवेति मंत्रमुच्चरन् कदा सुखीं भवाम्यहम्. ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव. Imagine you're right in front of Kailash and you're chanting this.
Yeah.
कितना अद्भुत.
बहुत.
The combination I'm saying. हम घर पे भी अभी आपके सामने ये किया. This is okay, fine. I mean, it's nice. But to go there, ये simple example, जब मंदिर जाते हैं and अगर कम लोग हैं, there's not too much of sounds and noises. If you just sit there and वहाँ पे कोई एक पुरोहित, एक ब्यूटीफुल एक उनका जो कुछ होता है, ओम न कर्मणा न प्रजया धने न त्यागे टडाटा गोइंग, and you just, you're in that मंदिर, आंखें बंद हैं, you're listening to that. Even that is so beautiful.
Yes.
और ये तो सबसे बड़ा मंदिर है.
Correct.
So this is how I just thought I'll articulate my answer to your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mayur, why Kailash is a mystery? What are the facts of Kailash? Like, why can no one go to Kailash?
Okay, that's a very good question because it doesn't have a very clear answer. Because you can't get a definitive answer. Okay, so let me respond to this question.
Okay.
I've been to Kailash, but when I say that, I've not been on Kailash.
Yeah.
I've been close to Kailash. So there is something called the outer parikrama and there is something called the inner parikrama. Okay. Inner parikrama is where if this is Kailash, if this is Kailash, okay. So this is the inner parikrama.
Okay.
This is the outer. So you're closer. Okay. Now my guru, once we finished, the whole group finished the parikrama, my guru
The outer
after
parikrama.
outer parikrama,
Yeah.
my guru went into the inner
Hmm.
and went actually to the Kailash Parvat
Hmm.
and touched the Kailash.
Okay.
And when my guru did the Sashtang pranams to Mahadev in the form of Kailash, Swamiji heard something fall to the side, like a plop sound. Dekha to there was a part of that Kailash that fell in the snow. It was almost like a prasad which Swamiji brought back from Kailash. Now coming to your question, the facts about Kailash especially, more than facts, what has been understood is that, and I've also been there, it has different impacts on the functioning of the brain. People say, because you can't really, like, I didn't carry my electromagnetic machine or something. This was 2001. तभी I भी नहीं थे लगता है. Today people use it for other things. But it is said that there are waves, electromagnetic waves, very strong. And they can have an impact on us.
Okay.
Has anyone climbed the Kailash Parvat except Shiva, who resides there? Not all the time, but a lot of time. There have been a few.
Okay.
There have been a few. There is one Rinpoche, a senior Tibetan, a monk from the Tibetan order, who has been known many hundreds of years back, who was known to have climbed the Kailash and meditated there. There's one more entity that these are people I know of. Okay. So I'll make it very clear. When I'm on this podcast or any podcast, I will only share that I've experienced.
Yes.
And what I've known for sure.
True.
Not from a lot of books and stuff, because that's okay, that's bookish. For me, it's what I've experienced and what I've actually been sure of. So there's
what
another. I know, like, from some people who know that a person has gone. For example, there's an ashram called the Hera Khan Babaji's ashram near Rani Khet in I think it's in Haryana, if I'm not mistaken. वहाँ पे जो हैदा खान बाबा जी करके होते थे, he was on this planet only for 14 years.
Okay.
He came and said, I'll be here for 14 years. And he was also one of the entities who's known to have gone up the Kailash and meditated there. Now, these are entities who also, I believe, like, these are who we know. There are others. There are sages who can live beneath the Mansarovar for hundreds of years. There are sages who can meditate in a cave and be there for months, years, decades, if they want to, because they have to fulfill certain kriyas for which they need to retain themselves in the body. And therefore, these entities have got certain strengths in the way they can handle their physiology.
Okay.
Which is why they are able to climb up the Kailash.
Normal people cannot,
because it will have an impact on them. So I've also heard, now this is what I've heard, it could be conjecture because I'm not sure, somebody tried to climb, a foreigner, and as he was climbing, he got completely disoriented. That's one. Second, as he was climbing, the weather which was normal jo tha, pura change ho gaya. It was almost like, there was like a, kya kehte usko?
Kora.
The snow आता ना cascades, it not a snowfall, sorry, what is it? Avalanche.
Yeah.
Good to have an audience here. Avalanche. जैसे हो गया, not a major avalanche, because he was climbing, so he started finding stones coming down. So the disorientation and the avalanche type of an effect was a message for him that you're not allowed to.
Okay.
See, there are certain places you're not allowed to go till you have reached a level of spiritual growth, from a physiological perspective, from a mental perspective. हर एक को नहीं जमता है वहाँ पे जाना. So that's for sure. That's why they have the inner and the outer parikrama. And inner bhi ऐसे नहीं कि you're very close. You're still closer compared to the outer. But then sitting there in that region, in that radius close to Kailash, itself is more than amazing for a spiritual aspirant.
आउटर परिक्रमा जो आप कहते हैं, कितने किलोमीटर्स की होती है ये?
I can tell you in the form of days, time, it's easier for me to tell you. It takes 3 nights and 4 days to complete the outer parikrama.
Okay.
Inner, naturally the radius is shorter. It will take much lesser time. But outer is that much. It's quite big. It's not like the way I'm moving my hand. It is quite big. And the most beautiful part about the doing the parikrama is the process.
Okay.
Like हम जा रहे हैं, we are walking, then comes the evening, then the night. And so we have enough time to absorb the vibrations of the Kailash. जैसे अगर हम जल्दी जाके जल्दी आते हैं तो फिर it's too less a time, no? Even I remember my mom used to tell me, when you go to a temple, हम तो जाके करके आते थे, she would say sit for some time. थोड़ा देर बैठो वहाँ पे, absorb the vibrations. So when you go to Kailash also, the process of doing the parikrama is long enough that you get good time to absorb the vibrations. But facts are that so I can't say facts, but it's said that, and I've seen it. It is different, and that's not a place only for the human entities. Okay, it's not only for the human entities. There are other entities, other beings, other advanced beings.
Okay.
There are also yogis who are at a different level of spiritual enlightenment, who don't have to be in their physical forms if they want to. They can be in just the light form,
okay,
the astral form. There are different types of our bodies also, right? So हमारा तो physical body है. They can come out of that and be in a normal form. They can be in a different form which is not normal like us, and so they can also go and travel at a different speed.
Okay.
तो ये अभी ये अद्भुत है.
ये एक्सपीरियंस किया है आपने?
I have not experienced at Kailash, but because I had enough time at Mansarovar, I know for a fact that when you sit, especially as the sun sets, it becomes twilight, starts getting darker. You feel. Now I'm saying you feel because I don't know. My eyes have seen this.
Yeah.
But I have no recording and all that, because I wouldn't have done that in any case, because I must have been quite shocked. Seen lights moving,
okay,
and suddenly going into the waters of the Mansarovar. The question was, what are they? I had read about it. So before I went to Kailash Mansarovar, I wanted to kind of psych myself up to know where I'm going, the significance of it. So there's this book about Kailash Mansarovar, written by a Swamiji called Swami Tapovan. I think Swami Tapovan has taken Samadhi long time. This was in 2001. So in that book also it was mentioned about certain beings who take the form of light to take a dip in the Mansarovar. जैसे हम गए थे to take a dip. And why is it important to take a dip in such waters? Because they have so much of divine spiritual vibrations in it. So many people have taken dips who have been divine that the water also becomes divine.
Okay.
And one of the simplest examples of divine water is तीर्थ. जब गुरु या कोई आपको तीर्थ देता है, वो तीर्थ नॉर्मल वाटर थोड़ी होता है, दिखता तो वाटर जैसा ही है, but it has got a lot of divinity.
Okay.
Because of the vibrations of the chantings.
Yes.
फिर वो जब पूजा होती है तो हम उसके ऊपर अर्पण करते हैं, कपूर होता है, सब कुछ आके फिर वो जो पानी हम डालते हैं, स्नानम करके पानी डालते हैं, वो पूजा के बाद जो आता है वो तीर्थ होता है. So when you go to Ganga, or when you go the Ganges, or you go to Mansarovar, the water is vibrant with all these properties, especially the vibrations. जो लोग meditate बहुत सालों से कर रहे हैं, उनके vibrations उसमें आ जाते हैं. And that's why when you take a dip, it purifies you.
Yeah.
It's probably the first time I've actually opened up so deeply on Mansarovar.
Mansarovar. Okay. NASA says कि भगवान शिव की इमेज दिखाई देती है, भगवान शिव का चेहरा दिखाई देता है कैलाश पर. Is that true? Has NASA seen Bhagwan Shiv?
I've heard about this. I've seen their the video, or I think it was. See, I don't really get too much into what these entities say or they project. But I know for a fact, Raavya, that when you see the Kailash from certain angles, it gives you a feeling of a form of an angle from which you can see a form of Shiva.
Shiva.
It could also be your own very deep reverence to Shiva that you start seeing Shiva. Okay. Now I know that there was one couple with us. I won't name them, but I remember we were there, and they said we can see the form of Hanumana, the shape and form of Hanumana. Like we were standing, I couldn't see it. They could see. And they wrote a book on it and they mentioned that. So they could see it. Now, I saw there is one part which looks like the formation of Om on Kailash.
Right.
From a distance. I saw that myself. There are two ways of looking at it. One is your own, because of your sincere bhakti towards your Ishta or your Devta, you feel that, and you feel you've seen it, and you may be seeing it because the angles can be that way. The other is sometimes such energies, वो आपको दिखाते हैं कि हम हैं. They show themselves in that way.
Yes. Does Shiva reside there, Kailash par? क्या सच में है ऐसा?
My answer to your question is this entity, who also is one of the, according to me, Devon ka Dev, Mahadev, which means even from a yogic point of view, matlab yoga may be one of the most advanced yogis is Mahadev. And if the Rinpoche monk could climb up the Kailash, if Hira Khan Babaji has climbed, and maybe there are others. Mahadev is a much advanced yogi. There are yogis who meditate in caves in the Himalayas, right? Different caves in the Himalayas or in the forests of the Himalayas. There are yogis who are meditating right in front of you, but you can't see them.
Okay.
Mahadev, I believe, because I saw that mountain, I'm 100% sure that Yogi Mahadev definitely meditates there. But does he live there? वो live का definition doesn't apply to the yogi like it applies to us, okay? बैठ के ऐसे नहीं है. They're different beings. I don't know how to give you an example of different beings. You heard of Kumbh Mela?
Yeah.
Kumbh Mela, if you go, you'll find, आपको अगर आप जाते हो तो एक बात है, आप YouTube पे भी देखो, because you can see the visual. There are certain entities who will be doing tapasya in such a way कि वो लोग, मतलब एक योगी है जो एक पैर पे खड़ा है for 21 years.
Okay.
उन्होंने संकल्प लिया है. Sheer willpower. 21 years एक पैर पे. एक योगी है जो मैंने देखा था, वो हाथ ऐसे ऊपर करके for n number of years, मतलब जो उनके गुरु बताते हैं या वो संकल्प लेते हैं. Now एक पैर पे 2 घंटा is going to be like a challenge. 21 years.
21 years.
हम 21 minutes खड़े रहेंगे तो भी लगेगा yes. एक हाथ ऐसे. Now they do that as a way to challenge themselves to go closer to Shiva with their willpower. And that is also part of sadhana.
Okay.
वो तीव्र हो जाती है साधना. Because at a point they lose the consciousness of their body. Similarly, जैसे ये entities हैं, इस प्रकार के वो क्रिया करते हैं कि हम अचंभित होते हैं, like what really? And they're like us in the human form. Mahadev is another level of a yogi. तो वो they don't live there, right? जब भी उनका शायद होता है कि they'll be there for 8 months, 9 months to do a particular sadhana, they'll be there. That Mahadev yogi may not be only confined to Kailash.
Okay.
Because we are not the only habitable planet with spiritual entities. हमारे जैसे काफी सारे planets है, of course. काफी सारे planets है, ऐसे civilizations हैं, which could be either extremely advanced or which could be very very regressed. हमें पता नहीं है. But there are we cannot be the only planet in this zillion solar systems यार. तो फिर जैसे महादेव एक योगी है जो हमें इंस्पायर कर रहा है थ्रू हिज शिष्यस, जैसे अघोरी है, जैसे नाथ पंथ है, दे आर ऑल कैरिंग द मैसेजेस ऑफ महादेव. वैसे मैं समझता हूँ महादेव यहाँ पे आते हैं, वो और भी जाते हैं, interstellar वो जाते हैं. I believe so. Where science has ended, spirituality starts. Scientists were not the first people to know that Earth is round.
Yes.
Many things have been mentioned in the Vedas by the rishis. So, ऋषियों के ऋषि है महादेव. So, therefore, when they meditate at Kailash, they don't live there. They of course come there to perform certain kriyas. They also, I'm sure, have interactions with the earthly spiritual beings. कि आगे कैसे, how प्रचार कैसे हो of spirituality.
जब आप बात करते हैं एडवांस्ड योगी, महादेव, जो आदि योगी जिन्हें हम कहते हैं, हम देखते हैं ये जो एडवांस लेवल के योगी होते हैं, हायर लेवल योगीज, हु आर दे? व्हाट आर द कैरेक्टर्स ऑफ एडवांस योगी?
एडवांस योगी ऐसे होते हैं जो, जैसे योगी का ही मतलब है योग करने वाले. That entity, he or she who practices yoga is a yogi.
Correct.
Right? The easiest example for me to explain this is when you want to join martial arts, you'll find an advanced martial arts practitioner.
Yes.
You'll say, who? A black belt. वो भी martial arts ही कर रहे हैं, आप भी martial arts सीख रहे हैं. You probably have reached a level of, say, orange belt. होता है ना, white belt, yellow belt, ta. That person has reached black belt first dan. You reach brown belt, so you're rising. Similarly, yogis, as in those entities who practice yoga, and especially meditative yoga, जो ध्यान करते हैं, they use hatha yoga, for example, to also intensify their meditation. तो ये जो yogis हैं, they could be understood as yogis at an advanced level. So when you watch a Bruce Lee, the famous legendary Bruce Lee, he's an advanced master of a particular style of martial arts. Took him years to master it. Why only Bruce Lee? If you heard of the Shaolin monks, the Shaolin martial arts, and the monks who practice it, for them, it's almost like yogis, because they don't only do physical, they go to a level of mental conditioning so much that, somebody can even hit them with a rod and the rod would probably break. They're so strong. They have so much of control over their body. I'm not joking. They're very strong because of their meditative powers. Similarly, ये जो advanced spiritual yogis हैं, sadhus, they meditated so much. They practice hatha yoga, for example, Raj yoga, for example. अलग-अलग types के भी yoga होते हैं. Even for that matter, look at Mirabai and her bhakti yoga, an advanced yogi of a different kind, isn't it? इतनी bhakti towards Krishna.
Yes.
Aparampar. That also strengthens the willpower. So these entities, through their practice, Raavya, practice of different types of yoga and meditation, reach that level where they can even control their external and their internal body mechanism. There's this entity, I remember, I even saw a video of it, Swami Rama, and he's written a lovely book called Living with the Himalayan Masters, and I think another one called Walking with the Himalayan Masters. Very interesting. Swami Rama. So he was such an advanced yogi. He could control he had a control over the involuntary movements inside his body. He could control his heart movements. He could control it. ये कौन कर सकता है? He could control the way he could breathe. So therefore, he was taken to the US.
Okay.
For conducting tests on him.
Because of the willpower and meditation?
Willpower is one part. Meditation and the practice of yoga. I want to bring in one part here which I have not mentioned, which is also what becomes a part of yoga and for people to grow spiritually, is the power of pranayama.
Okay.
In fact, as I speak with you today, I just attended a lecture of my guru, where also yesterday and today, where Swamiji spoke also about, very sincerely and intently spoke about pranayama.
Okay.
That pranayama, if done subtly and done properly, can even help in decreasing the impact of the purva janam ka paap.
Okay.
It is so powerful. Similarly, when pranayam is done properly with proper guidance, whether it's Anulom Vilom pranayam, Kapalabhati pranayam, Bhastrika pranayam,
Any.
Shitali pranayam, or any of these.
Any.
I'm mentioning so that some people would relate to it. And if it is done regularly, properly, it can also give you or present to you certain strengths in the way you think, in the way you create, even in your spiritual growth.
It helps you.
It helps you tremendously, and I'm connecting this to the advanced yogis because their level of pranayam could be so much that they could take one breath and maybe hold it for 5 days. If a person can control the movement of his organs inside, ye to kuch nahi hai. See, that's why I said where science ends, spirituality starts. It's all about training.
Yeah.
There is one person I know who told me to my face that if I tell you the right technique right now, how many minutes can you hold your breath? I said, max, maybe 2 minutes will be one. He said, he said, I will teach you right now and I will make you hold your breath for at least 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
But you'll have to follow my techniques. If a normal person also can research and then help others to do that, then these are yogis. They know much more. Ye jo banda bol raha tha, he's not even from India, and it's fair enough. They've done their bit, but they've all extracted things, and now they've made it part of their way to help others.
True.
So that's why when you practice yoga and certain techniques, which we cannot yet, it'll take time.
Okay.
I've seen a Tibetan yogi who sits, does certain kriyas, and then he just jumps from the floor. If there's a floor, he just jumps around 5 to 6 to 7 feet up like that. Okay, just straight up. Now, I'm not saying he flies, I'm not saying he floats, I'm not saying he levitates, but just to have the urja to jump up.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about the flying and all that. Ye bhi ek hai na? Easy hai kya?
Correct.
हम ऐसे बैठ भी नहीं सकते हैं proper.
No.
But they are able to just get that energy, the chi energy you call it, or whatever you can call it, your the shakti that is there inside you. The point I'm making is there's so much, which is what helps these yogis to rise. But their rise is towards finally merging with the superconscious, not to make it like a dekho, aiye, abhi dekho. That's why you'll not see advanced yogis as much. And even if you see them, they are not supposed to show off such things. It is for their own growth. जो genuine yogis होते हैं वो कभी दिखाते नहीं.
But why do they choose Himalayas? Like जो आप yogis या Mahayogi, the advanced level yogis, why do they always choose Himalayas for their practice or meditation?
True. So a long time back I had the same question, why not the Andes, the mountains there, and there's so many mountains, why not the Amazon river and why the Ganges river, right? Well, there is this strong pull towards the Himalayas because I believe from much before in time, this place has been found to enhance your ability to go deeper into yourself.
Okay.
I believe the Himalayas are like a catalyst for a yogi. वो आपको आपके साधना को ना और strong बनाती हैं because of its that what it is there. I've also read now about this that there are certain places in the Himalayas which emanate जैसे waves होते हैं electromagnetic. वैसे there are some volcanic rocks there, which if you sit and close to it or if you sit on it and meditate, it enhances and intensifies your meditation.
Okay.
Similarly, there are certain rocks near Mount Abu because I went there. So ये तो मैं खुद experience किया हूँ. There are these big rock Mount Abu में. So we were at Sambit Sadhana in our ashram, which used to be of Swami Ishwarananda Giri Maharaj, who was also my guru's guru. Now he's taken samadhi. तो हम एक बार ऐसे trekking के लिए गए थे, तो वहाँ पे ऐसे बताया था कि you can meditate in these places, it will enhance your sadhana. So ये होता है कि when you sit on a particular thing which has properties, it will help you further.
Okay.
If you sit close to a shivling and meditate, it will help you further because वो properties ऐसे होते हैं of that shivling.
Okay.
So that is why Himalayas के तरफ और ज़्यादा है, I believe. Having said this, Raavya, every form of Mother Nature has its own pull. So I went to a place in Mauritius. It is called Shankar Talav. Shankar Talav, yes. It's beautiful. Shiv Talav or ऐसा कुछ है, Shankar Talav. It's beautiful and it's in Mauritius.
Okay.
And I got the feeling of being close to Mansarovar and Kailash. Beautiful. So different places on earth, they may not be in near Himalayas, but they have their own aura.
Right.
If we are spiritually more, sort of intense, I think we'll connect with such places easier.
Yes. Have you ever met an advanced yogi, the higher level, जो महायोगी हम कहते हैं? आप उनसे मिले हैं कभी?
My answer would be in two ways. One is because I really don't like to tell you anything other than no exaggerated stuff. So there are two Aghoris I met. It was not really in order to write a book and all. It was just to know who they are. I think I was keen because I got the sources to meet them. And I think I really did not know who they are.
Okay.
And I wanted to. The urge was very strong. And it happened because a couple of my participants in the training program I was doing happened to be from that region where they knew that one of their uncles, he knew the Aghoris, and I got a chance to meet them. I call them advanced beings, advanced yogis, because the way they were, that's why I tell people when they say, Mayur, मुझे भी अघोरियों को मिलना है, बोलता हूँ ये क्या ऐसे मिलना है क्या, एक्टर है क्या, मतलब celebrated मिलना है क्या है? You pray if you want, they'll come or it'll happen, but be careful because there are many half-baked entities. Half-baked in the sense they'll be doing some part of it, but they're still not paripakwa as yogis. They're in the process. It's like if you're a yellow belt, you cannot say you're a black belt.
Are there imposters also?
A lot of them. Because we are living in a Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
And it is easy to, unfortunately, fool people.
Yeah.
Because people are in need of, we're all living in a world where the pandemic has happened, money's challenges, so much of also this मेरे family के ऊपर black magic किया है, बहुत चलता है, and therefore it's very easy because they're very vulnerable.
वाराणसी में देखा था मैंने घाट पर a man, like an old man, पूरा भस्म and wearing those black clothes, skull और कुछ तंत्र वो करते हुए, तो वो पूरा skull वाला माला पहने हुए. So, are they really Aghoris or?
True. So it's very easy to look like one. It's not difficult to look like one.
Yeah.
It's also not easy to understand. The genuine Aghori sadhus and differentiate them from the fake ones. It's not easy. But one thing remember, to all of us I say, don't ever be desperate. Because of some situation that you're part of. Because then everybody will look genuine to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're so desperate, कोई wig भी पहन के जाएगा बोलेंगे आजा बच्चा कुछ करता हूँ. Because you're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
So don't be desperate. I only humbly say to all of you that you just pray very, very hard because prayers have the most tremendous power. And if you really want to meet an Aghori so that maybe you have some issues and you feel Aghoris have got the strength, they do have the strength, but they are not supposed to be helping people only. The main thing is to do their kriyas to merge with Shiva.
Correct.
But there will be Aghoris who can help you. But running after them and saying, Mujhe Aghori ko milna because I'm going through a tough time, it doesn't work that way.
You get that a lot?
I got it this afternoon.
Yeah,
I got it this afternoon. This is the first time I'm telling somebody. A family came up to me and said, because I've written the book, can you help us meet an Aghori? Because one of my relatives, and I'm not exaggerating, and I was so pissed off, because right there is my guru. And what are you doing? And I told them that I'm a writer about Aghori sadhus to tell people who they are. I'm not here to flip out a card and saying Milo unko and all. I didn't say this much, but they said it's not me, somebody else. Fair enough. I respect that as well. But I told them that you don't have to go to an Aghori. When you have a guru, pray for the strength to deal with that situation. For any person who feels kuch to kiya hai, okay, which is fair enough. I understand that. The first thing is do a japa, do some japa, create a protection. And Shiva is the strongest energy field that I feel, and then Devi also. Of course, the Shiva Shakti, तो दोनों आते ही हैं. Do some chantings every day. It will help in stopping those things to come and affect you, because ये होते हैं. Just as there are positive energies, there are negative energies as well. So my only thing is don't get vulnerable and pray, because it takes all kinds of people to make the world.
Yes.
And if you pray, हो जाता है, things fall in place. शाहरुख खान का डायलॉग भी है ना, अगर चाहते कुछ वो कायनात,
पूरी कायनात उसे मिलाने में.
हाँ, तो it's a philosophy. They also borrowed it from the real philosophy. If you pray for something intently, the power of secret, that book, same thing, right? You pray, you manifest it, something will happen. If not in this life, the next life.
Absolutely. Mayur, how are the normal yogis different from these advanced yogis?
Normal yogis would be those who have got a regimen in a day. जैसे वो सुबह उठ के उनका meditation का एक cycle होता है.
Correct.
Maybe of an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. There's a lot of seva that they do. जैसे मंदिर में हो या लोगों की हो, that also is very important to them. I'm talking about the yogis who live amongst us as well. ऐसे नहीं कि वो yogis मतलब सिर्फ Himalayan caves में होते हैं. हमारे में भी वो yogis हैं.
Like I can also be a
a practicing yogi who is living a normal life and yet practicing very healthy, deep forms of meditation techniques. That's a simple life of a normal yogi. ऐसे भी मैंने met people who are holding senior positions in corporate. And they're, to me, yogis because of their behavior towards the people.
Right.
They're humble. They're very, very ambitious. They're excellent leaders. They have tremendous control over their emotions of anger, anxiety, stress.
True.
And that's because they're practicing certain forms of meditation.
Yeah.
So these, according to me, are normal yogis. मेरे लिए जो योगी, जो entity है who has left everything connected to the normal life and has abdicated himself or herself from all the desires, typical desires, materialistic desires, and वो जब भी he or she goes into that space where it's just he and his or her Ishtadev or the Guru, and then the entire life is about meditation. The entire life is about spiritual seva, if I can call it that. For me, that entity is an advanced yogi.
Level.
Usme fir, like I said earlier, when you do more and more japa, when you do more and more अनुष्ठान्स, जैसे एक मंत्र ले लिया, फिर you take a संकल्प कि मैं इस जप को, इस मंत्र को 1 महीना यही मंत्र में पाठ करके उसका जो उच्चारण है वो रेपिटेशन करूंगा for hours together. जैसे हर दिन I will sit for 8 hours and practice it for 1 month. वो एक संकल्प है. सुबह उठ के, बहुत सुबह उठ के, maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Is that possible for us, like a normal?
Not really. That is why they are advanced. advance themselves to that level where they can, because they have in a way disconnected themselves from this life. Because you cannot practice this when you're living a normal life. तो उस हिसाब से a normal yogi, Ravya, is any one of us.
Yeah.
He or she who practices yoga
जी.
can be called a yogi in some sense. वो yoga का practice कर रहा है, लेकिन as you grow deeper and higher in some sense, you become more advanced.
Okay.
Then there is one element that also gets awakened, which is vairagya. Vairagya is that abdication where you don't feel connected to anything. सब छोड़ने का एक मन feel हो जाता है. You start feeling that disinterest in what earlier was very interesting to you. Right. Especially the material desires, the wants of life. And the only desire, if I may call it so, is getting to know your Ishtadev or Devi, and spiritually evolving more and more through more and more practices of meditation. That's that advanced yogi. But we are not bad, we are good. We are at a level, at least we're doing something.
Yes.
और जब भी वो time आएगा, at that time we will probably, जब भी वो हो जाता है, when the vairagya element becomes so intense that you feel internally that it's done. I just need to go at the feet of my guru or go into that cave and do my meditation, and that's all that matters.
Correct.
वो जब भी होगा. It's a journey of the soul, I feel.
But जैसे Shivji is known, Mahadev is known as, the yogi, the Adi yogi, guru.
Yeah.
Correct. Adi guru हम कह सकते हैं. तो can the yogis attain this level of advancement, the advanced level in one lifetime on this earth?
Why not? Because please understand करो, इसमें mathematics का भी एक role है. ये one lifetime हो सकता है because they've lived previous lifetimes.
Okay.
There are entities जिन्होंने पहले ऐसे lives lead किए हैं. They've lived certain lives where they have also grown spiritually and come to a point where in this life it's their final part where they know that they are not in any way connected to this material life.
Okay.
यही life में फिर वो हो जाता है because it's not just this life, it's multiple lives.
Multiple lives, yeah.
Today, your interest in spirituality, Raavya, or our viewers who are keenly interested in knowing about Himalayas, Kailash, keenly interested in knowing about what this Mayur Kalbag is going to talk about, that keenness is not only from this life. Your keenness, or Ayush, who's here with us, his keenness is not only it's not just born now. The soul has been living certain lives and that interest has grown. Again, from white belt towards the black belt, it's growing. But we are kind of thinking that yehi life hai, isi life mein, our life is of multiple lives. So, आगे गुरुज भी वही कहते हैं ना, जितना आप खुद को प्योरीफाई करोगे, जितना आप साधना करोगे, जितना प्राणायाम करोगे, you will find that the impacts of पूर्व जन्म negative जो किया है, वो कम होगा, which means there will be lesser lives to lead because you're burning away certain things जो उसका पाप लग चुका होगा, whatever you may have done some negative kriyas. That's why if you do more and more sadhana, you become more paripakwa to reach a point where you may not have to have another life.
Pranayam can help in that?
Extremely powerful. So it's a combination, Raavya, of mantra japa or any kind of japa, in bracket meditation, seva,
true,
like in helping people, because we're living in this world, help people in different ways, and breathing, pranayam.
Okay.
Of course, then there are many other things like you read Vedas, because Vedas can be excellent guides to us.
Okay.
जो वेदांत पढ़ते हैं और अगर हम उनको सुनते हैं तो it helps us to become more mature and more philosophically beautiful about how to lead our spiritual life. So japa, seva, pranayam together, along with reading good texts,
okay,
being with good people, and उसके सबसे ऊपर होता है having a guru.
Having a guru. कुछ भी पॉसिबल नहीं है बिना गुरु.
Because you may imagine, karo, you're sailing through the ocean on a most amazing yacht, लेकिन उसको sail ही नहीं है.
Yeah.
तो आप you're directionless. The yacht is beautiful. You know how to ride or whatever that sail through.
Yeah.
But you don't have the sail. You need the sail to help the boat and go in the right direction. That sail is your guru.
Yeah.
Because I may do my japa, but if I don't get the guidance on how to actually say the japa, if I know that pranayam is important, and believe you me, ये YouTube से ना देख के बहुत danger होता है वो. Don't learn and practice by watching on video, especially such things. Good to be inspired by.
Yeah.
Like I saw this video where pranayam के बारे में बहुत अच्छी बातें हुई हैं. Maybe today they are watching us talk about it.
Correct.
But please go and learn it from in a real time way. That's the way, at least yoga ke kshetra mein, I personally believe it is important to learn in real time.
Correct.
As much as possible.
When we talk about yogis also, Mahayogis, बहुत अलग दिखते हैं ये. How do they look like? Are they like 8 feet tall, or पूरा complete white, etc. As we have heard the rumors, normal लोगों से बहुत अलग दिखते हैं ये.
There are different tribes of yogis. Now I have seen, I used to check, ऐसे कहा जाता है कि जो yogis हैं, sadhus हैं, they have a different physical structure.
Okay.
I'm not even talking about the height, just the structure, where it is said that they typically have longer arms. Not abnormally long arms, but longer arms than normal people.
Okay.
There are certain sections or tribes of yogis in the Himalayas who would be in height much taller than the normal people on earth. Now somebody asked me, how come and is it true? And I give the example of the tribes in Africa. There are certain tribes where the tribe itself has a gene which makes them extremely tall. The Masai Mara tribes.
Masai Mara.
Their entire physiology is different.
Okay.
Similarly, ऐसे भी है. Also, I feel when you keep practicing yoga and you're in certain parts of the world where it's the Himalayas, for example, in the snow, your texture of the skin also changes.
Yes.
When you practice pranayam, pranayam leads to better oxygenation. So the entire performance of the body is amazing, right? Because of the oxygenation. And they practice advanced pranayama.
Okay.
So naturally that also has an impact on the way the texture of the skin works. That's why you find when you may hear people say,
you're white,
kitne tejasvi hain.
Okay.
Tej dikhta hai. Some people are so tejasvi ki aura dikhta hai because of their years of practice of pranayam and japa. It changes the entire working system of the body. The whole system changes. And that's why, except prarabdha, agar prarabdha mein hai ki the body has to go through something, it goes through.
Okay.
Otherwise, they can control their the way their health is.
Right.
That's why many yogis can live for hundreds of years.
Can we get in contact with them?
Yes. You can send out a message. If you've seen the movie Contact, it's an old movie with Jodie Foster, and she loses her father, who's an astrophysicist. She also turns out to be that, and she tries to send signals to the universe, and finally somebody contacts. So you can. Ek yaad rakho ki they are not celebrities or they are not normal human beings. They like to be confined. They like to be in their own space. Unko na disturb करना उनको अच्छा नहीं, उनको डिस्टर्ब करना उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता, because they are in their own zone.
True.
But if you really want to get connected to such yogis, or at least see, then you should go to the Kumbh Mela, for example. Not to keep disturbing them and checking out, but just have a look. And if you're spiritually quite bent in that direction, you will get intuitive feelings about some of these yogis. You know, you can see from their facial expressions that they're advanced. They're very in their own zone. They're not interested in displaying anything. And if you're lucky, and if you're doing a trek in the Kailash, you might come across, like we came across a yogi who was doing a parikrama, just walking out of nowhere. ऐसे ही, I'm not exaggerating. हम लोग खड़े थे ऐसे ही, robe, orange robe, no footwear. हम लोग वहाँ पे पूरा shoes, t-shirt, shirt, jacket, wind shield ठंडी में. Of course, our guru was with us. Swamiji also was in the robe. Just walked, and he saw our guru. Came towards the guru. They had a conversation, and he was the one who finally took my guru to the Kailash later on. But where did he come from? We have no idea. It was his 97th parikrama of Kailash. 97th. तो कभी-कभी ऐसे मिल जाते हैं. It's about, you have to keep praying, and मिलना एक बात होती है राव्या, लेकिन साधना करना उनसे प्रेरित होके जो एडवांस योगीज हैं, कि कुछ अपने लाइफ में जो हम लीड करते हैं, when you're working, we are living our life of a householder, उसमें भी if we can extract some inspiration from these yogis and do something in our life, it's more than beautiful.
Yeah, true. We have come to end of our session. मुझे एक चीज बताइए, अगर people like me, if we want to go to Kailash, right? क्या मन में होना चाहिए, मतलब किस तरीके का विचार होना चाहिए? ये कि सिर्फ जाना है, जाकर आना है? What is the process?
I would say,
and what should be the purpose?
Sure.
वहाँ जाने के बाद
कैसे होता है ना राव्या, कि जाना तो जिसको जाना है, there definitely that keenness is amazing. Spiritual feeling तो होती है कि मुझे जाना है, महादेव है, but preparation is also important. So I would say in a concise manner, कि whoever is interested in going to Kailash, do 2-3 things. First is, at a very physical level, get yourself fit.
Okay.
Because if you're not fit at a physical level, you will not be able to meditate properly there.
Right.
So if you feel, for example, if somebody is like feeling heavy, थोड़ा overweight है, जाना तो चाहिए कैलाश, लेकिन if you're heavy, you will find yourself struggling to even take 10 steps because there is less oxygen there. So first, physical fitness.
Correct.
Second, mental fitness. उसके लिए, I'm not saying you should start playing games and stuff, but get yourself mentally active. Now in this, one of the things I've seen is reading spiritual texts helps you a lot.
Okay.
Even reading books connected with Himalayas. I told you earlier in the podcast that I read Swami Tapovan's book about Kailash Mansarovar, about his trek to the Kailash Mansarovar.
Yes.
What it does is, mentally it activates you, it inspires you. You got to psych yourself up. You psyching yourself up. मुझे जाना है. It doesn't mean you keep saying मुझे जाना है, मुझे जाना है, मुझे जाना है. ऐसा नहीं. You got to read about other people's experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe this podcast could be acting as a catalyst for them to say, okay, इतना सब सुना है, I feel excited. The mental excitement is very important. Because when you're excited, it strengthens you also.
True.
Because otherwise you'll be like, क्या यार, थक गए. No, excitement, because I heard that when you do the trek, तो ये होगा, and you're anticipating something. So that's a mental fitness. Also, उसमें एक मैं request करता हूँ कि if you're really keen to get yourself strengthened internally, physical weight loss करो, थोड़ा stamina बढ़ा, वो है, but do pranayam.
Okay.
Start practicing simple pranayam. 4-8-6 breathing होता है. When you inhale through your nose, count 4 seconds. Hold your breath, retain it for 8 seconds. And then through your nose itself, keeping your mouth closed, release your breath, count 6 seconds. This regulation is very important. Do this consistently. It doesn't take a lot of time. Maybe do 6 cycles of it, 8 cycles of it, like 4, 8, 6, 8 times. It helps in oxygenation. It also prepares you. Especially when you're going to those places, because of lack of oxygen, this will help you a lot. Your lung capacity will also be stronger. Also, I believe the power of Om vibrations helps a lot. It vibrates your entire system. ये सब अभी जब आप करते हो before Kailash. When you reach there, please try your best to do a few things. One is, even if you're in a group, when you're there, find 5 to 10 minutes to be on your own and do open-eyed meditation. Open-eyed meditation. Because जो हम आंखें बंद करके विजुलाइज करते हैं ना, वो आपके सामने ही है. Why would you want to close your eyes? हम आंखें बंद करके, कहा मुंबई में आंखें बंद करके भी विजुलाइज कैलाश, मानसरोवर. मैं बोलता है अरे यार तू तो वहां पे ही है. So why do you want to close your eyes? Yes, you close your eyes if you're visualizing the 7 the petal, the lotus flowers with different petals, and वो अलग बात है. But you can do open-eyed. While you're there, I say to all the people who are watching, when you're there, extract 5 to 10 minutes. Because वहाँ पे ना अगर आप बातें करते रहेंगे ना, oh my God, it is amazing, क्या आपको कैसे लगा भाई, then there's no difference, तो यहाँ पे भी वही बात करेगा. उससे अच्छा do that a bit, but spend more time with yourself and start connecting with Kailash, start connecting with Mansarovar, start connecting with the skies which are most adbhut over the Himalayas. When you start doing that, you'll see a change in yourself. Also, apart from open-eyed meditation where you connect, my guru would always talk and still talks about Ashtamurti Upasana, a very powerful form of meditation. Ashta, 8 limbs of nature. The sun, the moon, the stars, 3, and then the Panchamahabhutas, 5 plus 3, 8. So connect with all the forms. In that only you will be completely engrossed, which is a form of meditation. Also, another thing, when you're there, please do 2 things. One, if you can, do Om Namah Shivaya jap. Or if you have any Ishta jap, do that jap. Devi japa ho jo kuch. But jap karo. And preferably with a mala.
Okay.
And also stotra pathan. Om Jagrat Swapna Sashuptisha Sputataraya Samvedujrum Bhrate Ya Brahmadi Pipili Kantu Tanushu Prota Jagat Sakshini Saiva Hangna Chadrishavastita Dhridat Pradnyapi Asyasti Chet Chandalostu Satut Dvijostu Gururit Yesha Manisha Mama. Om. I'm chanting this only to let you know that learn something like this. Go there and chant with your eyes closed or eyes open. I'm used to saying it with my eyes closed. When you do this kind of stuff at Kailash now, you'll find so much of spiritual awakening within you. बाकी तो टाइम आपको मिलेगा ही, फोटो निकालो, सेल्फी करो, you know, but and talk to your friends about your experiences. हाँ, एक बात है कि अगर हो सके तो night time at Mansarovar, sit on the banks in silence. You might get to see those beings. Yeah, some people have also got to see it.
Yeah.
So these are the things, nothing more, but ये करना जरूरी है. If you do these things, your trip to Kailash will be apratim, adbhut.
So I must say this was an adbhut podcast episode with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And it was just adbhut, I must say.
No, I think I was happy because I haven't really spoken so detailed about Mansarovar especially. And even this particular point right now about a lot of people want to go to Kailash. कि क्या करना है वहाँ पे, वो तो ठीक है, अब जाने के पहले क्या करना है. These things I think are very pertinent, are very relevant. So I really was happy that I could talk about all this. So thank you once again.
Thank you again.